Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to the Scream Scene. I am your host, Jody Dean, and tonight co-hosting with me is my good friend Sam. I call her Sammers from Sam's Pretty Paranormal right here on YouTube. How's it going, my good friend?
It's going really good. Thank you for having me back on the podcast.
Absolutely. I people really enjoyed our last one together. And I always love chopping it up with you, man. I feel like we always have really interesting conversations.
Yeah, we did. The last one was really fun. I really enjoyed that.
It really was, and I actually had a handful of people reach out to me and just say, "Man, I really enjoyed your guys' conversation. You guys had a lot of insight to offer." And when it comes to the paranormal, I got a handful of people that that just feel as passionate about it as I do. It's something I think I'll probably be connected with. So, probably till the end of time, something that I just will dabble in. Even if I go away, I've kind of done that with YouTube and started out doing paranormal stuff and started doing randonautica, but I always go back to paranormal. There's just something there that's so exciting about hearing stuff, seeing things that um, aren't there, but they are there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I've done that myself. I've really been in the paranormal and then I kind of, dwindled away from it, actually trying to pull away from it, but it's something there that it pulls me right back in.
It's very magnetic. It feels right. Even though it's like something that like a lot of people say you shouldn't dabble with. It's dangerous, honey. You shouldn't be doing that. That's not a Lord. Well, it's like, I don't know. I'm on the fence about that. I feel like this whole life is a test. And there's a lot of things that we probably shouldn't do. We're gonna let's be honest, we're gonna do it now. But I don't think we have any we have good intents behind why we do it, right?
Yeah, we do. I mean, and I know what you're talking about because I was raised very, very Christian, very by the book, the Bible, like hardcore. And
Hmm.
my family will be the first to say that, even when I was doing the spirit box and stuff, they were like, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that. And I wasn't doing it for the wrong reasons. I mean, I'm just a curious cat. I want to know,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, obviously there's something there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny, like we have a lot in common as it is. You're a filmmaker, I'm a filmmaker. You love music, I love music. You do YouTube, I do YouTube. Our families, they love each other. We got so much in common, but now we have something else. Like when I first started diving into the paranormal, um some people in the family had got wind, like, oh, Jody's messing around with this ghost hunting stuff, and they formed such an opinion of me. It got back to me pretty quick, like conversations. The other family would bring it back. You won't believe what they said at dinner the other night. And I'm just like, isn't that crazy? Like, people are so judgeful and they call themselves a Christian. And I'm not judging them, but I will just say I feel like one of the things out of the Bible that stuck with me the most, and I don't know it front to back, is the whole judge lest thee be judged.
Yeah.
Like, I always go back to that because it's like, I'm sure there's something that they've done along the way, you know?
Yeah, for sure, and I've had the same thing. My aunt, she actually really came down on me hard, about the parent when she got wind, because she was watching my, YouTube channel, and she saw one of the videos, and she was like, "No, no." She
Mm.
called me up the next day after I upload, and I was like
She said
she was like
no.
she was like,
Mm-mm.
"I know you ain't that. I know you," and I was like, no, I'm not. I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong. So I'm
Yeah.
happy with what I'm doing. I don't know.
Yeah. You're not a gangbanger. You're not a serial killer. You're not a thug. Does she look like she's
No,
thugging? No, she's a good mom. She's a good-hearted young lady. You know what? This stuff is just very interesting. It's very fun. It's very compelling to know that we can document things that we can't necessarily, well, on some lights you can see them. I always say that. I have to go back to that. I'm like, you can't see them, but you can. Just earlier tonight, I was at Dean's Haunted Mansion, and I looked over to my left, and it looked like the shadowy figure of like a gentleman just kind of stuck his head around the corner to look at me to see what I was doing. And then as quick as I locked onto it, it was gone. Did something distort? I don't think so. Like there was nobody standing in between any light. There was nobody on that side of the house. It was just one of those things where it's like, have I gotten that good to where I look for them, or have they gotten that secure to where they show themselves to me?
Yeah, and I mean, you could be where you're just so open to it, you're not closed-minded,
Yeah.
because I know that, you know, my aunt and even other family members like, "Well, I've never seen a g," and I'm like, "Well, I have,
Mhm.
and it's very real," and their fear, I guess, maybe closes their mind off to it, so they're not gonna experience it, but whereas me, I'm open to it. I'm like, it's there. And no, I'm not welcoming demons and all of that crazy mess,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, things have happened. Just, you
I
know.
think, one thing I think that we like probably all agree on is if they do if it is them that's actually communicating with us through these spirit boxes and these signs and stuff, that it's all happening through energy. Well, if we believe that they can communicate through energy, why wouldn't we believe that they can read our energy and know how we truly feel? Like they can probably sense that you have a genuine love for maybe communicating with them. It's very interesting. You want to know more about the other side because we have loved ones on the other side, and if they can feel that, like I feel like they're more open to probably communicate with this. It would be like if I was haunting you, I would kind of have like an inside look of your heart, you could say.
Yeah, yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too. But I mean,
And
listen, I don't know better people. And I think anybody that knows us know, like, I mean, we don't mean any harm from anything that we are doing.
no, no, absolutely not. I'm not out here doing symbols on the floor and conjuring up, demonic things. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
I get it. And hey, I don't know what you're talking about there. No,
Uh,
I'm out of dabble. No, no. But seriously, my main thing is I do wish to understand, but I wish to have fun with it. I figure if I was on the other side and somebody offered me a way to possibly communicate and actually cared to hear me, I would feel like honored and be like, wow, yeah, like hey, I'm probably dying to speak for somebody on that side to hear me. Um,
for
but
sure.
just all right, moving forward. So we have a lot to talk about when it comes to the paranormal in this, and that's why I brought you back on specifically for these topics that I want to approach. But before we get too much into them, one thing I want to talk about is trying to make it on YouTube these days. This is something that I've said more recently several times because this conversation comes up. People, they'll kind of pick my brain. They'll say like, "Hey, if you didn't start doing YouTube when you did, would you start now?" And I always say, knowing what I know now and seeing how the game is like changed a little bit, no, I would not
Mhm.
start now. Depending on what you're doing, I feel like there's some truth to that. Like I feel like what we love, what our niche would be, what's interesting to us has become so saturated. And I thought maybe we could talk about this tonight because you started YouTube late on. I would say it's kind of late on, right? Like you've had this interest for a long time, but like didn't you just really start up maybe in the last few years?
Yeah. Gosh, I would say maybe 2019, 2020. That's when I started getting more into it. Like before, I kind of would, upload something here, upload something there. Not really sure what I was trying to do.
Mhm.
I was actually trying to figure out. what is this channel even going to be about? Because my first video was a makeup video for a company I was working for, and I was like, nah, I mean, I want it to be more than that. And so yeah, that's where I'm at now. So yeah, I haven't been in it that long.
Well, I love the fact that you thought about, and that would be advice I would give to somebody if somebody was new, like coming to the platform. I would say do something unique, and I love the fact that you took uh makeup and paranormal and put them together. Hence, Sam's Pretty Paranormal. I watched a lot of those videos, even though like the kind of makeup I'm into is like special effects makeup. I would watch them because there's something to be learned, even for me. Like I remember Alicia walked in one time and she was like, "You're watching Sam do her makeup, huh?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, she's doing emulating. I think it was like a Ariana Grande look, if
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
mistaken."
yeah.
And
I've done that.
I was curious because I had actresses show up and they would just need basic makeup and they'd be like, "How can you make it look like somebody's heart is being ripped out of their chest, but you can't do some basic makeup?" And I was like, "Well, and just never mess with that really. I'm good at blending and doing these things, but I had watched that and you actually taught me some things. And along the way, you tell paranormal stories. So that is what I think it takes in order to really break through nowadays because almost everybody is just straight like paranormal, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, the paranormal thing, like you said, is very saturated. It's a lot of channels like where you doing the investigation, and then there is some channels that do story times and stuff like that. And so I watched a lot of Bailey Sarian. And so I was like, okay, she's doing true crime and makeup, which I mean, I do that too. But I was like, what about paranormal and makeup?
I
And just
love that.
mesh that together. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's where I got that from.
You've done a lot of unique things, and look, that's just one of the core things that you started up with and you ran with. But you've also dabbled and like done some other really cool stuff, and I love that. One thing I learned later on was my channel that really blew up that took me to a different level of success is my Hunting the Dead channel, 250,000 followers. But being called Hunting the Dead, starting off doing paranormal and doing paranormal for so long, I quickly learned like I would try different things time to time because it's not that I would get bored of the paranormal, but I was just like, man, I'd love to switch it up and just do something. People were not having it. Like the fan base I built, like they loved me and everything, but they loved me when I was doing paranormal until Randonautica came along and I was able to infuse both of them. Like, guys, I'm doing Randonautica, but we're using paranormal intentions and we would end up at
Yeah,
haunted places and it would work out great. But it was like the only other thing that was acceptable because I had built, from the ground up under this one thing. So by keeping your options a little bit open, you got the storytelling, you got the makeup, you got the paranormal. That's cool. And true crime, it just all kind
yeah,
of flows. But I think that's like some secret sauce for anybody that would want to get into this.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, I tried to do, or I'm still doing it. I haven't done one in a while though, but I was trying to do like cooking for the dead. So get somebody, it's mainly like famous people, and just like get their last meal, what they had right before they died, and then tell their paranormal, like people experiencing the paranormal from that person, like haunting,
I love
like
that.
I was like, that would be really cool. So
That
yeah.
would be cool. Now, Alicia told me you're somewhat of a beast in the kitchen. Is that where that would come from? You're like, girl, I can cook, so maybe I need to be doing this.
Yeah, and most of the cooking for the dads I've done is like country cooking, and
Mm,
that's where it's at right here.
mm,
And so I learned a lot of my cooking from grandma. So
mm.
yeah,
Mashed potatoes and gravy, fried chicken, green beans. It
yeah,
sounds like what Alicia made for dinner tonight. Very close. Yeah,
yeah,
the YouTube game though is changed in such a short amount of time. I don't think it's just that the paranormal field is saturated. It's very saturated. Um, and when I say that, I don't mean that in a negative way. I get it. I think everybody should do this. This is a lot of fun. But I think nowadays, if you are doing it, you kind of have to mix it with something like, you know, how you're talking about like cooking, doing your makeup while doing it. I know moving forward on the Hunting the Dead channel, I always was so serious with the paranormal stuff before. Like instantly I would change out of my everyday goofy, wacky, loving, people say I'm very comedic self, into this very serious guy, because I wanted to people to know like I'm going into this with like somewhat respect, and I wanted the spirits to feel more respected. But I think moving forward, I'm just going to do me, and I've come to a point where I just don't care if I'm offending anybody. I care more about the spirits, but like look, at the end of the day, I care what my family thinks about me. They're going to be there in the end, and those are the people that, you know, I want to learn from me. I'm not so much worried about what some stranger in an you know, across the world. I respect, you know, they're watching, but I've just realized, man, I'm gonna do this content the way that I should have been doing it from the beginning, and I'm just gonna be wacky, kooky, Jody, and maybe the spirits might dig it. Hell, if you like it and you think it's funny, why wouldn't old John? You know?
I know, and I agree with you. I mean, whatever, it's your channel, and you got to do you. You got to do what's fun for you, because at the end of the day, I mean, you don't want to wind up putting out stuff that's like that you feel like you don't have any love or passion into it, because that's just gonna die. I mean,
Hmm.
that's not gonna. I just enjoy creating videos that I love, and hopefully that will resonate with the people watching. They'll feel that, and then they'll love it.
I think that's the way. That's the way to do it. And one thing is, I always have loved making videos, no matter what. It's just like it's one of the most therapeutic things I've ever done in my life, where we film something, we edit it, we put it together, and then we are able to put it out and share it with people. And whether love or hate, whatever it gets, because it will get a little bit of both. No matter what it gets, it's so awesome to just see these things go out there and like all of a sudden be appreciated, or even when they're hated on. Sometimes I'm just like, that's crazy that I made something that can affect people's energy.
I I know, and literally most everybody I come across, they're like, "Oh, I love your energy," or "You're so, you're so sweet. You're so nice. You're so fun." And then I go through my video, and it's always that one person. I'm just like, whatever,
It
like,
proves they do not know you, and it proves they do not know me. But and that's the problem with the whole thing hate thing. My buddy and Omar and I, we talked about this more recently in our pod, in our interview. Um, it's become so easily accessible to share your emotions, and you really find out how many people are miserable.
oh yeah,
It's
oh yeah.
sad. It's sad. I pray for them.
I know. I recently, so there's a YouTube channel I've been watching, and he does paranormal, and we've been trying to contact Sebastian Rogers. So, but and I won't go there. But people have been coming to that channel, and it's just like, how do they have like they wake up
Hmm.
that angry at life and that miserable that they come onto this channel and they don't even know really who the guy is. I don't even know who he is, but and they're just typing all of these things, and it's like, I don't get
Yeah.
that. I don't get that kind of energy. I can't go on somebody's channel and just be like, you're a loser, blah, blah, blah. I don't
It,
get it.
it's it's one of those things. I didn't understand it at first either. You know, like I remember my first year and like 2 months on YouTube, I was putting out 4 videos a week, doing a live stream every Thursday night at 9 p.m. And I would get immense amount of hate. And I would sit back and I would watch the videos sometimes, and it'd be like, let me see if I can figure out like how this is affecting this person. And I would watch the video and be like, damn, that was a good video. Damn, I was nice. Like it just, it's kind of, it goes back to the thing with like the family, like, oh, you're doing the spirit box, this or that. And it's like, people are so judgeful and they're so worried about other people. Like, I don't ever wake up and wonder to myself, like, other than maybe like my close friends, like, you or some people, I'm like, oh, I hope, hope Sam and the family's doing okay. Like, I don't ever
Yeah.
think like about somebody I don't like. Like, if I seen a movie on TV and I didn't like it, I wouldn't wake up the next day saying, I wonder what that fucking producer is doing over there in his Milwaukee home. That son of a bitch. Like how
I
does this
know.
happen?
Yeah, I know.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
I don't get
weird?
it. It's so weird. It is so weird. And I mean, there's people that I could say I don't like, but I don't even waste my time looking at what
Yeah,
they're doing because I'm just like, I don't want to see it. Like, I don't really like it, so I'm not gonna put my energy in there. I stay away from it.
exactly. Yeah, it's almost like there needs to be. That would probably be a huge YouTube channel to start a YouTube channel that will teach people not how to not be douchebaggery. That could be it.
Yeah.
How not to. And people would probably just be like, this motherfucker. Like there's just so much hate out there. It's like people can't wait to, and I don't get it. Like I could make a video talking about petting dolphins, and people would be like, "Do you see how hard he was stroking that dolphin?" Like, I swear, bro. Like I'll never understand it.
I don't I know, I could probably go outside and just pick just a flower, and somebody would probably say, something about that.
That
Like,
bitch
I
killed that
picked it wrong.
flower. You seen
"Look,
that shit?
yeah, she's killing the earth. How dare you?" Like, my god,
Yeah, it's a
crazy.
sadness, man. Because you know what it is. I think that we're so filled with love, we and happiness, and we got great families and friends. Like we can't fathom. Like I don't know. But even if it wasn't for the internet, so I'm kind of glad we do know it exists at that level because you need to know like what kind of hates are in the universe, and obviously you keep your ear to the street of like true crime and stuff like that. So you know what kind of
Yeah,
bad stuff's going on. Like what kind of stories
yeah.
are going on out there right now with that?
Oh, boy. Well, I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Sebastian Rogers story. He's
Yeah.
missing. They can't find him, and it's just as bad as Summer Wells' case right now.
I heard
And
about Sebastian. That's very sad, man. I pray to God
yeah,
they find the young man and Summer Wells. Oh my God. I don't think anything
yeah,
ever is gonna happen there, unfortunately.
no, it's not. And I think there was another little girl from North Carolina, Madeline Kojakari.
Hmm.
Like, haven't found her. The last known video footage of her was getting off the bus and going to her home. I mean, as far as we know, they have not found her, and that's been a long time. And Sebastian has reached 100 days now. And I'm just going to be honest with you, just by my gut feeling and everything,
Hmm.
there's a empty there, and
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, I don't want to say that because I hope it's the total opposite. I hope he's found good, but I feel like he's not with us anymore, unfortunately.
I, I
So
I I feel you. I feel you. I hear about these things sometimes too, and I pray for the best outcome. I always try and have hope until we hear something, but it's hard to. We know how hard it would be for a kid to navigate in this world out there. Excuse me, at their age, but not only that, we know what kind of evils exist, obviously.
oh yeah,
And what are their chances? And I think at some point, as a father, I could never give up, but as somebody watching, like I'm kind of with you. Not necessarily about that case. I don't really know too much about that. I have heard about it, but um, yeah, it's scary, man. When you're talking those kind of days been gone, I think like they say you got a 48-hour window of actually possibly finding the person,
yeah, yeah,
or their
and
best chance at least, right?
yeah, their best chance is the 48-hour window. So yeah, 108.
Mm,
I don't think so.
it's sad. It's sad. well, moving on from that, because we don't want to do sad, but I do pray for these people, and I hope they find their loved ones, and I'll keep praying for them. Um, how we believe spirit communication is possible. I think we've kind of already talked about this a little bit, but what is your opinion? What are your thoughts or your theories?
Well, um, how I feel spirit communication is possible. I mean, I would say the energies.
Hmm.
Of course, I mean, we use the spirit box. Hey, sometimes I can just use myself. And
Right.
that's like all I need is just myself.
That's the best. That's the
Um,
best for sure.
yeah, and then you have the more experiences you have, I think it's more validation. There's communication there, things that happen. Recently, I actually did an experiment with my friend Dee Dee. She's a dream interpreter. So she done an experiment and asked us to use any form of communication that we would use to contact spirit, and try to guess what's inside of this box. She made a box, she wrapped it up, she didn't tell nobody what was in it. And so I took the method of dreaming,
Hmm.
and it was wild. I actually, every night when I went to sleep, I set an intention to communicate with spirit guides in my dreams. And I could not believe that I actually hit several things that was in that box. She was blown away.
That is
And I was
so
like,
cool.
that's incredible. So I
What a
think
very
it's just
unique
that, yeah.
way to try and communicate. I haven't heard of that. That is really neat.
Yeah, that's something I've actually been working on behind the scenes, is using my dreams as like a form of being able to communicate, because it is insane how many
Mm.
times she's had several experiments, and it's just blown me away how, how you can use spirit guide in your intention, and it just actually
I
give it to you.
believe it. I mean, well, here's the thing. Like, so you kind of said something, just starting off there, just having experiences, right? So the more you look to have an experience, you're opening yourself to it. You're inviting it. You're using even if you're not saying it out loud, you're using your energy to invite it. It all comes back to energy, right? So, like, even with the dreams, if you're having that energy, your your mind is set on bringing that energy into your dream. The more you practice doing that, the more likely it is to happen, and then you become fine-tuned to it, to where now it is a tool. You can use your dreams for communication. So I think where I have somewhat of a gift, at least it feels like a gift to myself, is understanding how these things can work and explaining it to somebody how it could work. Whether I'm correct or not, again, an expert in the paranormal field, it really shouldn't be said, but I think that there is, I think we can all agree that if it is possible, it's because of energy. Spirit box produces an energy wave. If you back in the day, our older radios, you could turn on those radios, and sometimes a cop would come through, or somebody's walkie talkie from some distance, right, or somebody's CB. Why couldn't a spirit come through if they were talking and got on that same wave? And that's the way I try and explain it to people, and I look at it myself is, um that energy, any way you can use a frequency to another frequency, it can manifest voices and words in real time. And I can see that happening with dreams. I can see that happening with um a mirror. If you're focusing on a mirror and you're trying to see something, maybe you put something between you and the mirror that causes a frequency, like a flame, a candle, and now the candle, like, it opens up this window to where, like, there's almost like an invisible veil, but you see it coming in and out with the flame. And if you look through it at the right moment, that energy with that energy, like, you can see something. It's like scrying.
Yeah. Oh, I've never tried that. That sounds
I've
interesting.
done it. I've seen stuff with it too, especially with the candle. You put the candle between you and the mirror, and I mean, you got to be focused. It's not like you just sit down and it happens. But if you really, really focus, um, yeah, it's a tool.
Wow. Well, see, that's like the same thing what I was doing with the dreaming. I've really been honing in on that and trying to strengthen that because I get a lot of dreams. I don't dream a lot, but when I do, it's like it is so vivid that I mean, I have just woken up completely lightheaded.
Wow,
It's just so vivid. I mean, you can just see everything happening. It's crazy.
that's intense.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, have you tried to see anything outside of something spiritual with these dreams? Like, have you tried to see like you and John standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon, just looking out at a beautiful scenery? Have you tried to go to like places like try to do anything crazy like that? Like any, I don't know.
No, no, I haven't tried any of that. I have had dreams where I'll be like someone else. And one recent one I had, I was a woman. I had
Mhm.
long red hair and it was braided down the side of my shoulder, and I was in front of this huge hotel, but it was almost like I was in Australia. I felt like I was in Australia, and I was in front of a hotel. I had a red car, and I was standing with the door
Wow,
open. I'm serious as a heart
dude,
attack.
that's crazy. I've got chills just hearing this. Okay, go ahead.
So I was standing beside my car with the door open, and I felt the mother instinct, and I saw someone take I had a baby, and I don't know if it was a boy or girl, but it was a little baby. They took it, put it in their car, and took off, and
Oh my god.
I was like, no, like I was freaking out. So I was trying to run after the car. And then after that, I don't know anything. I woke up from that. I was like, that was, that was freaky. So I don't know if I saw something, if that was just something my brain
I
created.
gotta
It's hard.
say, wouldn't it be crazy if you found out like you have like this psychic ability, and then like 2 months from now, you hear about this story that unfolds, and it just so happens to be everything you dreamed of, and like it's a woman you seen in your dreams, and like I don't know at the level of that. I'll just say this: when 9/11 happened with the planes, it was like 2 weeks before that happened. I had a dream about planes flying into a building. And I never in my life, I swear to God, I never in my life had, and still to this day, I've never dreamed about planes. I've never had a dream about a plane, a helicopter, any flying thing, no saucers. But 2 weeks before that happened, I had this dream, and it didn't look like the Twin Towers or the Pentagon in my dream. It was just a building, not even a big building, but a plane flew into the side. I think two planes flew into the side, one on each side. And 2 weeks later, I was working. I forget where I was working at the time, but I'm standing there and somebody said something, and I'm like, dude, that sounds just like my dream. And I look up at the TV and I see on TV the it had just happened. Um and I was watching that, and I was just like telling somebody about my dream, and they're like, "You should have told somebody." I'm like, "Dude, how would I like?" I'm like, not that anybody would have listened to this guy. I think at the time I forget how old I was, maybe like 15, 16, 17 years old. Not that anybody would have listened to me or anything. I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't know if it was significant, but it was weird that I dreamed about planes hitting a building 2 weeks before that happened.
Wow. Well, I have this documented because I sent this. Like every time I have a dream, I'll send it to Dee Dee because she interprets it and she's really good at it. So I actually have this specific dream documented with her in my messages that um I dreamed I was outside and there were planes flying over our house,
Hmm.
and they were throwing bombs down like left and right, just bombs, bombs, bombs. And then the situation that's happened overseas
Hmm.
in with the planes flying and they're just throwing bombs. Like that freaks me out when I think about stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And and then, not saying that's tied together or anything, but I mean it is weird. But then I also had like this instinct. So going back just a little bit to the Sebastian case. So I had this gut feeling. I was just like, you know, something about North Carolina, was coming up for Sebastian. And I was like, I don't know if he's here in North Carolina or what is going on in there, but I was feeling the North Carolina thing. And it was like not long after that,
Hmm.
there was a sighting. There was a sighting of Sebastian Rogers in North Carolina. Now it turns out it was not him, but everybody was freaking out. His father thought it was him.
Right.
It looked so much like him. His father thought it was him. So I was like, that is
Whoa.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's pretty wild. So, I mean, it's possible. It's not impossible. It's possible that um
okay. Well, hi. Um, I don't know what to say. He's my friend. So you guys are stuck with me unless this ends and we restart. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. So anyways, people. Um, so yeah, that's weird. I had that thing. Hopefully Jody comes back soon because I don't know how to host. Oh my god. Um, so yeah, that was a weird okay. I'm by myself. Wait, it's still recording. I'm alone. Um, come back. Come back. Okay. So I'm gonna wait on him to come back. Uh, anyways, so I had that happen. So you guys can say in the comments whether you have had that experience or not. If you had like dreams and something actually happened from it, or you have gut feelings and something comes from that gut feeling, like, just put it in the comments. Um, hopefully Jody will come back because I mean,
dude,
I
that
don't know.
was so crazy. Tell me you carried that conversation there. Uh-oh. Did I
So
lose you
I
again?
no,
No.
no, I'm here. Wait, what? I'm
Okay. All right.
here.
I don't know. My screen went away and like were
Yeah,
you
I
just
was
talking
alone.
that whole
I was alone and I continued hosting the show because I was like,
I
I
am
don't know what to.
super proud of you and thank you so much. I hate cutting these shows and editing. I love giving it to people just raw. That sounds fucking terrible. Please continue. Were you still going?
No, I was just telling the people that if they had any experiences to put it in the comments about like if they've had dreams and stuff has happened or if they've had intuition like feelings and stuff's happened. And I try to keep it going a little
Thank you.
bit. You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. We got some stormage rolling in right now. We've had it on and off all day today, and sometimes when that happens, these things happen. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's picking up. I'm not sure exactly where you were. I'll find out when I watch this back. Um, but yeah, I tell the kids sometimes whenever they have a bad dream, just be extra cautious today. Um, that's something that my grandma always told me. Like if I wake up and I think a dream means more than what it is, then just be extra cautious and because you never know if it is a sign. My aunt Myrtle would always say, every dream means something. God, if you dreamed about a snake, it meant this. If you dreamed about it being dark for 24 hours straight, it meant there was so many things. And I didn't know how she knew it all. I think I asked her that one time. Well, my mom told me. I'm like, well, where it must have came from somewhere, unless people have just been making, up these old I don't know, things,
Yeah.
explanations, whatever, stories.
Yeah. Well, I, I've tried to get Dee Dee to try and kind of explain. But she just, it's something that's learned over time. And I actually found out that if you are being murdered in your dream,
Hmm.
that does not mean you're going to be murdered. It just means there's change coming, or there's currently a change in your life that you're trying to kind of accept. So that was interesting.
Well, I've had that dream a lot, man. I've been killed so many times in my dreams, and sometimes I'm a real badass in my dreams too, like Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Last Action Hero, and or Liam Neeson in Taken. I like to think of myself as a John Wick type of guy when I'm dreaming. Um, and I'm not even capping here, guys. Like I swear to God, like surfboards with machine guns, it happens.
Oh my
Um, uh, all right. Here's the third topic for tonight. Let's dive into this one head first. What would we do if we were ghost?
God. Oh,
Mm, there's a lot. That's endless possibilities right there. I'm gonna. Do you got anything for me on this?
um, okay. Well, I've thought about this quite a lot, and if I was able to, wander the earth, I would definitely go to the people that has aggravated me some, and I'd play
Mm,
around. I'd play around there. But I think mainly I'd watch out for my family.
mm,
Try to protect them where if I'm able to, or you know, stay
yeah.
close to them, watch them. Um, but yeah, I would. It would be fun to play around, for sure.
I would love to play around too. I would love to scare the hell out of people. I think I would focus on becoming as physical as I could. And if anybody tried to mess with my family, I'd give them a good 24 hours of good old fashioned poltergeist. I would just go to their house and I'd do the flicker the lights. I'd knock the peas off the counter and the pantry and turn on their water faucets and I'd just knock until they were sick of running to the front door. Um, but I
I'd
also would.
clog the toilets.
Yes. Oh my God. That I'll have to keep. All right. All right. I'm gonna start a ghost list and I'll just hope to God that somehow I can get it with me to the other side. Um, I would definitely do quite a bit of wandering myself. Um, you know, uh, Strip club 1 p.m., strip club 4 p.m. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Not really. Yes, I am. I would definitely go to all the places I've never got to go to, and I don't know how that works. Do we teleport? Do we walk? That'd be a long, lonely walk in some cases, but then again, it could be very, very beautiful if you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that maybe you could probably almost do the, thing where you just think about and you're there.
Hmm.
Like,
That would be cool.
yeah, me and my dad used to have this conversation when I was little. I was like, when we pass away, I was like, what's going to happen? And he was like, well, I guess if you want to sit on the moon, sit on the moon. If you want to sit on a cloud, sit on a cloud. And I was like, that sounds like freaking
That sounds
awesome.
fun. I want to do that right now. Elon, what's going on with that, man?
I know, right?
Sitting on a cloud, that sounds quite lovely. Sitting on the moon would be awesome. And I do wonder, man, you know, it seems like you can go anywhere and document spirit communication. If it's not spirits, then I guess we've kind of chalked it up to it could be like aliens. I believe that it's spirits. That seems more reasonable, more likely to me. If you believe that there is spirit communication, I mean, I've caught it almost anywhere I've ever called that I believe is somewhat to be haunted, to the point to where I believe that you could literally go to a Walmart parking lot and communicate because there's been so much death. You probably can't touch a part of this earth where somebody has not passed through and left some kind of residual energy, right?
Exactly. Because if you think about it, I mean, Native Americans were here.
Mm-hmm.
before, we came, before the Europeans came over here, and so all of that death, and I mean, there's been so much death
Mm.
that I feel like every inch and corner and square foot and everything about the world has got something.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, we got spirits sitting in on this stream right now. I guarantee it, 100%. My grandma's most likely here. Whoever died in this house or on this land or the house next door, they probably hear us talking about this and saying, "Wow, if there's a possibility that maybe somebody can hear me, let me go over here and scream at this guy and girl." There might be EVPs in this podcast right here. If somebody listens in between any dead space, not that we left any, um there might be a voice, you never know.
yeah, I mean, you don't, because I'm, like I said, I'm sitting in this upstairs space that we're renovating, and like I said, we found stuff under the floor. So
Mhm.
a soldier, and stuff like that. So I don't know.
I feel like I've done a lot of abandoned places, like abandoned exploration and ghost hunting, and I feel like those are, for some reason, those seem like the most haunted places to me, which is crazy because an abandoned place almost has the same feel as a cemetery, where a cemetery in a lot of cases is more peaceful and somewhat well kept and beautiful. There's also a lot of very unwell kept cemeteries out there, graveyards. But an abandoned place is usually they're dilapidated structures. They're broken down. They're falling apart. They're rotted. They're molded. But it seems like they are so freaking active, and I think it's because they're so. At some point, you live this long crazy life full of action, and you want to be somewhere that's peaceful and quiet, but maybe you still want to have a house. Why not take a house nobody's living in?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that house was at one point alive with energy and people and emotions and all kinds of stuff. So,
Yeah, and even though it might be falling apart, those people are probably still there saying, "Well, it's still mine, and it's what I knew, and this is all I know." And um, they're just incredibly active, and it's funny because uh, I think there came a point where a lot of people were like, "Man, you just say every abandoned place is haunted." I'm like, not necessarily, but it does make a lot of sense. Just because nobody's living there doesn't mean that it might not be appealing to somebody that is no longer worried about materialistic and how something looks. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it really gonna matter? What is my GI Joe collection gonna do for me when I'm on the other side?
exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
like I
Yeah.
appreciate it now, but on the other side, like, I'm not really gonna care.
Yeah. I don't, I think once we get to that point, we're on the other side, it's like that stuff, it really doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it does. And
Which,
you
if
got a
you
different mind
understand that,
frame.
yeah. This is gonna say, if you once you understand that, if you believe that, it's like it actually makes things a little bit better while you're here. Like, dude, we have so much legitly, my word, legitly, that we don't need. We got things we want. We don't really need that. If we're not making the most out, if we don't put the damn phones down sometime, and I want you guys to have your phone so you can watch this podcast,
Yeah.
but if we don't put them down sometimes and really enjoy the moments, that's all we're really going to carry with us to the other side.
Exactly. And I've been trying to do that, like, just like the other weekend, Memorial Weekend. We didn't do no electronics. Like, we went
Good
outside,
gracious.
we turned the water hose on, and we just the kids were running through the water hose. Liam was
Oh man,
blowing bubbles, like I was grilling out, like that was the best. That was the
I
best.
love that. I love that. We love to do that same thing. We haven't done, dude. The water hose was a big thing when I was a kid too, bro. We love the water. We used to pick up the water hose and get water from it and be so happy it was the best water. Nowadays, you can't just do that sometimes. You know what? That's
Yeah.
crazy. my kids don't know about the water hose. Uh, other than they'll help me wash the car sometimes when we break it out then. But back in the day, you could just grab your water hose and you didn't think twice about getting a drink of water out of it. About a week and a half ago, they told us like 2 days into it, nobody touch your water. The water is contaminated and it will be until further notice. I'm like, thanks a freaking lot. There was
Oh,
something
yeah.
happened where one of the main water things running through um the town collapsed, and it was just there was a couple pipes that collapsed with it, and everything was running into one pipe.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So you imagine breaking out the water hose on a day like that. We just have more to worry about now than we did when we were kids. You know, if it's not our phones,
Yeah.
it's some crazy shit.
Yeah, it is, and luckily, we're blessed that we have well water. Uh,
Good for
Thank
y'all.
God we
Yeah.
have well water. But, we still filter it and everything, but I don't feel yeah, I feel kinda I mean, I feel safe with them, drinking it and running through it, and I mean,
Yeah.
that's stuff we used to do as kids, and it's like, I want them to experience that because that was good times.
Absolutely,
So,
dude. Made me the man I am for sure. Like I still hang on to those core values, and those memories are worth so much more than anything I could buy or pay to do. Like I think about those things every single day. The sandbox days, the getting dirty, walking around the neighborhood with no shoes on. Just
yeah.
crazy shit, dude. And I tell the kids about it sometimes and they look at me and they're like, uh I was on TikTok, and I'm like, no, no, get off of there. Get off of there.
Right.
The Batman voice comes out all of a sudden. Stop being a joker. Um, but no, we really had it. We had it so great, man. I'm luckily, man, like, I'm monitoring the amount of technology that is in their lives, and sometimes I don't know if they appreciate it, although it seems like they really do have a great time doing stuff that they don't realize the importance of it, like it becomes important when they're doing it, but they don't really think about it like, oh man, it'd be so fun just to go in the backyard and get dirty.
Yeah. Yeah, and
you
I
know
am totally for that.
yeah,
I let them go out there and just be boys, man. Just get in there, you
yeah,
know? Liam was jumping up in a mud puddle just yesterday, and I was like, "Just do it. Just just have fun,
that's
man."
awesome. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I got another one for us.
Okay.
Real paranormal versus what you see in a movie. I mean, this is easy. However, sometimes I do see a horror film, some kind of movie, whether it's a horror or not, that does have some realness to what I believe is real when it comes to um a spiritual haunting. Um is there anything like when you see a movie, is there something you're like, that can happen, but it doesn't happen like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a few, paranormal movies, and I'm like, I feel like okay, so The Exorcist and the Conjuring movies, like, to a point, I think some of that can happen. The Poltergeist, like,
Mhm.
are we gonna like go in a closet and be pulled in and go into some like no,
Right.
but I mean the activity and I think what Ed and Lorraine did was I think they actually had experiences. But I think Hollywood does have to exaggerate it to a point because there's got to be entertainment there.
Yeah.
It's got to be yeah.
They I mean, it's my favorite as a filmmaker, but just as a horror film lover, my favorite films to watch are not Hollywood horror films. Even though I respect them, I do like them. Like I love B movies. I love the independent films, and it's not just because they're not made by a studio. It's because they keep it a little bit more realistic, and some of that is because they don't have the money to do more and do bigger, but I'm okay with that. Like, I love that because I feel like I rather see a cross turning on a wall than a cross flying off a wall, because somebody can stand behind the wall and they can turn the handle of
Yeah.
that cross turning, opposed to that cross is shooting off the wall. And it's like,
Eh,
I have seen pictures and I have seen things move, maybe not like that going batshit crazy, um but I just love the fact that how creative somebody can be when they don't have a lot and they have to figure out how to make something just as interesting, um, even though they don't have $1 million to do it.
yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And like you said, I mean, it doesn't have to be Hollywood to be a great movie. And like you said, the indie movies, I mean, there's some out there that's really, really, really good.
Yeah,
I mean, they put a lot in it with even though they don't have, the income like you said
right.
that Hollywood has. It's like you said, it's like almost more realistic to a point. So yeah,
Yeah, hey, look, I seen The Nun 2 when it came out in theaters earlier this year. I absolutely loved it. That is a horror film with a lot of money behind it. It is beautifully done. It is a great film, and I rarely get excited about like if you say some horror movie's coming out and then you tell me it's got $40 million behind it, I almost don't even want to see it right there. And that sucks. But I think that I've now seen, like, a friend of mine made Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey on 100 grand.
yeah,
He made that movie on 100 grand, and it got bad. The first one got bad reviews. The second one's got mixed reviews. I love both of them. Absolutely love them. When I see a film that can make $4 or $5 million and it's made on 100 grand, and then I see some of these movies that are made on $40 million and they barely make 4 million, I'm just like, how much of it is ending up on screen just to not sell something that would be as effective if they just were a little bit more practical, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I agree. And there's been. I'm trying to think of one of the movies that came out in theaters, and I just wasn't impressed with it at all. I
Ooh,
want
I
to
want to know.
say, well, I'm trying to think about what it was. It's been a little bit. I want to say it was. Oh, I believe it was the last one of the Conjuring. Um, or was it? It's the one with the red door. You know
Insidious.
what I'm? Insidious. Yeah, Insidious. I was not impressed with that. Like
I
I
was not
honestly
either. I wasn't
no.
either. I'm
Mm-mm.
but okay. All right. How, tell me how you felt about it.
I was just bored. I
Yeah.
mean, just in all honesty, I was like, this is not like. I mean, somebody being in this black, which love the blackness around, and like
Mhm.
the guy coming in and he's having to find this door and all this. Like I that was cool, but the storyline, I was just like, this is boring. Like I lost interest in it almost immediately, and I was just ready for it to be over.
Yeah. And ain't that interesting? That's it's a highly anticipated film. It's got money behind it. It's got a fan base. I felt the same. I felt the same way. I love a lot of core elements that they have. Like I love the cast and everything. I think they had a lot of great things there, but there's just some things that don't need to be done. Um, Not that they shouldn't move forward with the franchise. Like I love
Yes.
when somebody has a good core to their franchise. Like for me, like the Wrong Turn franchise is like, you already know this. But also like Joyride franchise is really good. A lot of people don't know there's a part 2 and there's a part 3. the Wolf Creek franchise. There's so many great horror franchises out there. Jeepers Creepers. Um, but I feel like Red Door, it missed its mark, but I'm also one of those people too. Like, even though I felt that way, like now it's been enough time. I wouldn't make a video like telling people like how I felt about it, but like in this conversation between us friends, I'm okay with sharing because I hate when critics like bash movies and try and get people not to see it. I think people should still see it because although it might
Oh
not be
yeah.
for us, it might not be for somebody else, but I do feel, or it might be for somebody else, even though it's not for us. But I do feel like there was something just off about that film, and I love the rest of the Insidious films.
No, yeah, I will say I do love the rest of the films. It's just that one, I don't know, it wasn't it for me personally, but
Yeah.
someone else might be like, "Wow, that was incredible." But for me, it was just I lost my interest in it, and I like a movie that's like, gonna keep me there. It's like a
Hmm.
constant kind of like pull, like what's gonna happen next? That one, it had a lot going on, but it didn't do it for me. But,
What did you think about? Did you see the latest Evil Dead movie? What did you think about that?
no, we haven't saw that one
Oh, you
yet.
haven't seen it? Okay, all right.
Mm-mm.
Really,
Yeah.
really, I thought it was really great, and I met a lot of people that were unhappy with this conversation's been coming up a lot lately between me and some hardcore horror friends, my other podcast host Krista. um we feel like critics are just way too hard on things. Like I feel like there's
Yeah.
a way to say you don't like something and be nice, and I
Yeah.
get it that they're in the business, like to where YouTube is one of my businesses, like I'm doing things like that's their business. But I don't think that anybody, unless you're a filmmaker yourself, realizes how hard it is to make a film. And some of these reviews are so brutal. I'll go back to it again.
Yeah.
I sound like a broken record. I went and seen The New Strangers a few weeks ago, the day it came out, chapter one. Super happy with it. Left the movie theater saying, wow, that was so great. I turn on my phone and on Facebook, there is bad review after
Uh,
bad review. And I'm just like, a lot of people now are not going to go watch this movie because you guys are ripping it apart. But in all honesty, the cinematography was gorgeous. The lighting, the way this thing was filmed, the acting was superb. The kills, the jump scares, the care, every fucking frame of this movie was beautiful. I
yeah.
don't know what movie they watch sometimes, you know?
Yeah. And that's one thing that I won't do is actually go and leave a review with my name on there saying, don't go watch that. It's a waste of time,
Right.
blah 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 blah. Wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But because that was somebody's vision at the end of the day, and they delivered it, and I
Yeah.
mean,
And,
it's just
and where there might be one bad, some bad critics out there. Usually, some of these movies that you see ripped apart, like you'll see, like on the cover of their DVD, it'll say like so and so said so and so about this movie. So like, there's good reviews, there's bad reviews, but I think people exercise the bad review more and are more
yeah.
exaggerated with it because it equals views, which means that people are more for drama than they are for anything else, which is
Mm,
is crazy. Like I could never imagine riding a bus to want to get to a point to where I could hate something just because it
no.
sounds better than enjoying.
I know, man. That's like we were talking about earlier. People put a lot of energy into just being mean. And
They
for
it does go back to exactly. Yeah, there it is again. I mean, with critics, I mean, it makes you like, how would you get into that business? Like you're just sitting back there picking movies apart and then like, hey, I'm gonna do this for a living, and then people start liking you because of I feel like they get it wrong most of the time. So I don't get it. Like once in a blue moon, I'll see a critic that just has it right, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And then I'll see them judge the next movie, and I'm like, fuck, I was almost a fan of your criticness.
yeah. Well, and this is why I say everybody should just not even pay attention to that. They should just
Yeah.
go and watch it, be their own judge to what they're seeing, and you know what I mean. Just
Yeah.
don't. I don't look at the reviews. Like when me and John pick them, we don't look at the reviews. We
That's
don't
good.
look at the what everybody has said, or sometimes we don't even watch the trailer. We just it comes out, we go see it, and if we like it, we like it, and we don't, we don't. I mean,
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I am a sucker, like I love seeing a trailer.
I love trailers.
I love seeing people when they're excited about something that I'm excited about. This one movie, In a Violent Nature, it came out this last weekend. I went and seen it. It was a great indie horror film. It did like 2.1 million its first weekend, and that's huge because I don't think that the person probably had a lot of money to make this film. They just really had their heart into it. And it was one of those things that when people started talking about it, when a trailer hit the internet, it just blew up. Didn't have a lot of money behind it. It was one of those things, just a natural, it was almost like a hit song. Like it just went on its own. So super proud to see this person get there, do well on their opening weekend. They were only in like 1,400 movie theaters, brought in 2.1 million and going. And I go in this horror group that I love. I'm a big fan of this horror group on Facebook. And people were ripping this film apart. And you couldn't ignore it because like I'm going down there to leave a comment like, yeah, congratulations, Chris Nash, who look at that, who made this film. Like as an indie filmmaker, I'm super proud of this guy. He doesn't know I fucking exist. I don't care. It's just like it's so cool to see people succeeding. Um, and yeah, the what things people were unhappy with was just a little bit mind blowing to me. But I see it on YouTube too.
Oh yeah, all
You
the
know?
time, all the time. Somebody could just, rub, do this, and somebody was like, "Oh, you didn't do that right." Like, look, that
Yeah.
was
Look at the
inappropriate.
way this guy wears his fucking hat. You know?
Yeah, yeah. But I
Yeah.
have respect for filmmakers because
Yeah.
just watching you, and I've not had a lot of experience, but watching you and just a little bit that I have, like, it is hard. It is
Yeah.
hard.
It is.
So,
The first movie took me 6 months. The second movie took me 6 months. Um, I start shooting a new one in October. It's called Cock Killer. And can't even say the name without laughing. But it's a horror comedy. It's my first horror comedy. I thought I was just gonna stay in just horror, but I wrote something that's very funny, but it's also very bloody and very gory. Lots of action and lots of laughs. And I'm super stoked about it. But it's going to be the first movie yet for me that we filmed the entire film in 2 weeks. It is a crowded, congested 2 week shoot nonstop. I left us 1 day a week for recuperation. But going to shoot a whole feature film in 2 weeks, coming from 6 months to 2 weeks, it's going to be quite the experience. But
oh
it
yeah,
can be done, and I'm super excited about it.
yeah.
The hardest thing is for this one. Um, it's usually like casting and like certain behind the scenes things. This was just locations. That's it. Trying to get the locations all in similar areas, so it's like we don't have to go too far out for that 2 week period.
Oh yeah, totally. But
Yeah.
you can do it.
Oh
You
yeah.
can do it.
I'm gonna make that bitch my bitch. Um, it's gonna be fun. Uh,
Yeah.
well, anything you want to leave people with on here? Anything you want to say to the people that might be watching? Where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Sam's Pretty Paranormal. That's where I'm at.
That's what's up, man. Definitely
Yeah.
go check her out, guys. She is a gem of a person, and I'm not like I tell everybody this, whether I'm on a stream or not. Good people. So definitely check her out, and make sure that you also leave some love down in the comment section for my other co-hosts, Krista, Heaven, Sam, anybody else I ever have on here with me, man. And don't hesitate to check any of these people out. Make sure you smash that thumbs up, comment below, share this on social media. We post every week here, man. Keep your notifications on. I love you guys so much, but until next time, sweet nightmares.
This morning laying next to a dead girl, eyes closed, living in a dead world. I don't know what is real or what is not. All I know is last night I seen God. I was taught there's no such thing as a friggin' ghost, until I went looking, damn, I found them really close. EVPs and my camera saying please get out. I don't think the evil, I'm just trying to help them out.
I see dead people.
Every time I'm on the hunt,
I see dead people.
but dog, I never run. I see dead people every time I'm stepping out. I see dead, I see dead, I see dead people. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. I was looking in the mirror when I think I seen a demon. Looked like the devil, but hell, I never seen him. I was reading Revelations when I heard the voice of Jesus. Daddy left my mama cause she wouldn't kill a fetus. I spend most my nights having sessions in the cemeteries, finding all my prospects, checking the obituaries. They think I'm crazy cray, I got that scary J type to play the Ouija, laying in a shallow grave, turning shit up a notch like no one else. I see dead people, yeah, maybe I could use some help. I see dead people every time I'm stepping out. I see dead, I see dead, I see dead people. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. I see dead people every time I'm stepping out. I see dead, I see dead, I see dead people. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. Man, I see a spirit, I know that you can hear it. I don't even fear it, you can tell that I'm near it. When I burn the sage, all the evils come to rage. When I'm on the stage, groupie witches want my babies. Hey girl, I can haunt you like Zozo. No clown shit, you can call me Bozo. I'm just lurking like Freddy, and here he comes. Claw marks down your back, yeah, you better run. They can see it in the shadows, yeah, they know it's done. I see dead people, I'm about to fuck this nun. I see dead people every time I'm stepping out. I see dead, I see dead, I see dead people. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. I see dead people every time I'm stepping out. I see dead, I see dead, I see dead people. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof.